let's call the meeting to order because we can start with a bunch of things. And while we wait for Mike, we'll start with a small thing, which is, do we want to, Pat made a couple of suggestions to the minutes. Do we want to, Buck, did you have any other suggestions?
Not that I've noted here, no.
Okay, so let's have a roll call vote. Let's see, approve minutes. Does someone want to make a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, so Pat moved, Buck second. Any discussion? Pat had given me a couple of edits, so those are incorporated. She had approved the last ones, and I corrected the name on the guest. It was Len Sachs. And then and then the roll call vote is unanimously approved. Okay, very good. Now let's go to the substance of our meeting. I think we won't wait right now for Mike because he could have an emergency or something. But unless you want me to call him. Should I call him?
I think I know that you, I, and Mike did run through this a couple of weeks ago. So he is kind of up to date. There's no really new information for you guys other than really just reviewing the proposal
Right.
with the Energy Committee here.
Okay. So Mike, Patrick, and I had a conversation. We went through it. I had been concerned about the fact that there was going to be an in-kind, that there was going to be a town contribution. If we all see that of 50, 60, 70, 30,000 plus. And Michael felt that, and if he comes, he'll speak for himself, but that it was really important to do the future proofing of the system. That infrastructure needs to be considered, and that if we don't do that and we need more, we're back where we started today. So there was no point in just postponing a cost that we think is going to be needed at some time and while there are grant funds available. Does that make sense?
My only question as before was, what's the right number? But I think you answered it, that 10 should be enough, and if we only need 5, we can do 5. And the extra expense at this point isn't really significant whether it's 5 or 10 or 15. I sort of under that impression. So that seems like a good stab at an estimate.
Well, I think the new system the infrastructure of this can only serve 10 as a maximum, right, Patrick?
It can do 10. So that'd be 5 dual ports. That's also kind of a limitation of that row of parking. Let me see here.
Oh, I think you're right.
All right, so you guys can so it's also really a limitation of we're going to have to repaint the parking stripes here. So once you get to this 11 spot, I believe there's a structure that comes out from the building a little bit. I think it might be a door or another entryway into the building. So that's kind of another limiting factor. You have 99 feet, and we have to make one of these ADA compliant per Mass EVIP requirements. So that parking spot eats up 16 feet of it. So with this proposal, you're getting the infrastructure to build out an additional 3 dual ports. These are also a little bit higher kW output. They're 80 amps. So they will charge faster than a traditional level 2 charger. If we wanted to, we could probably go with something that's a little bit lower and maybe get an additional dual port out of it. But I really do think that 10 spots that's a pretty good amount of EV charging.
Well,
for a single building.
it strikes me that, in this location, 10 is probably more than enough. I mean, if the town really goes, really needs a lot, it seems to me other locations in town should be considered, rather than putting them all over here on the other side of town office building. That's my personal feeling.
Yeah, and there's other options. Obviously, we could look at other town buildings. I know when I drove through town, that main street was bustling. So there might be even, options where the utility sometimes will mount them right on a utility pole. So that's something that like you can look into in the future if you do need additional EV charging. I think that this is a really good starting point. You're getting 4 EV charging spots with a dedicated switch box right off of the main switch box that goes to a step down transformer and then goes out to handholds right here. So basically in the future, all you would need to do is pour a pad, pull electricity from that new panel that we're installing and bring it out through the handholds to that pad and that new charger. So it's really, this proposal is all about the future proofing, and that's why the cost is what it is, because we're installing, a dedicated transformer to step down the electricity. The good thing is too, because this building has the police station and the town hall, the actual electrical service to the building is huge. So it has a lot of electricity there from the utility, which is great. We're able to do this.
Now, you just added something that now I'm a little bit confused about when I'm trying to take notes at the same time. When you said that we could maybe get another charging station if we did something different, what was that?
So I would have to look into it, and I would just consult with Kyle and Brittany. So these are, as you can see here, some of the fastest level 3
Yes.
chargers that are available. So they're 80 amps. A lot of times you might look at them and they're 60 amps. So what that means is you're getting more electricity per hour going to a car. So it's going to be a faster charge time. So you could step that down to probably a lower amperage and maybe get another dual port. I'd have to look into it. I'm just kind of putting out ideas here. If
Right,
you
no,
guys want to have more.
What do you guys think? Do we stay with the?
I mean, obviously faster is better, but what's the price tag for the extra 20 amps? I mean, is it significant or is it insignificant?
It's not significant. And these flow units are actually very competitively priced. So it wouldn't be a ton. I mean, like, I think even the charge point ones, they don't go up to 80 amps. I think they're more expensive.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good. Okay. What else? I think what's happening now, guys, do you have other questions?
I probably shouldn't even be bringing this up, but I have a pet peeve about the size or the widths of parking stalls in town. I much prefer a 9-foot width, just because you don't have so much door banging and tight spaces. But that's a personal thing. I don't know that anybody else has ever brought that up, but and it may not be an option for this situation. It may not be so important, but that's a pet peeve. It's something that I just throw out for what it's worth, which maybe not.
Elm Street can be tight at times.
Yeah, I can.
It's my pet peeve too. I notice every car that's parked on the lines.
Well, I mean, is is it an easy thing to use 9-foot spaces and cut?
So you would lose, so that would be 5.83 feet. So it's doable, but you just wouldn't have 11 spots. You'd have the one ADA and then the 10.
Oh, this way we could actually have 11, but you were saying that we could only have 10 through this, through the charging. Now I'm confused.
So it does have 11 spaces here.
So we could actually have
You
EV
could
charging
do
for 11?
You could, and it would just, it would be a single port. You wouldn't have the ability to do a double port because that is where the, that structure that I was talking about is just off that 11th space. So if you wanted to do a single port, you could do that.
Because
The infrastructure would support a single port.
It would.
Okay. Buck?
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, I understand this. I think this is mostly going to be used for out-of-town parking. I don't know if that makes a difference, but I understand your concern.
Well, I
The one
wish
thing I
we
will
could do it
say-
on Elm Street where you have cars coming and going all the time. The use here is going to be somewhat limited. You're not going to have a lot of in and out. So I don't know that it's a great concern. If we're going to be concerned about it, we probably ought to talk about it for Elm Street. But
Right. I think my opinion, I guess, is for this purpose, the priority would be to have the future proofing for more spaces and leave things the way they are because it's actually okay. I mean, it's going to be cars going for a few hours and then pulling out, probably not like the Elm Street, you go to the coffee shop and you pull out, you go to the library and you pull out, you do this and you pull out. It's a little bit, I think.
I agree.
Okay.
The other thing with EVs, I say this, but it is changing. A lot of the most popular ones right now are not huge vehicles. That being said, there are ones like Hummer EVs that are coming out. I don't know the sizes of those. That might change things a little bit, but I also don't know what the popularity of that car really is. So
they're properly downsized.
yeah, I would imagine so, just because of the limitations of a battery and all of that, I would imagine they aren't as big as a traditional Hummer.
And I would think that at the location of that number 1 handicapped, theoretically, that curb could be changed and moved closer to Main Street if necessary. You can't really expand toward the porte cochere of the police station, but you could theoretically expand toward Main Street. It's just a curb there with some plantings. It's starting to go more uphill so that I don't know about the handicap. That might be a problem.
You could always
Maybe move
do
the
that and just
handicap
install a
down.
retaining wall.
So, but now, Patrick, just to be clear, so the limitation of 10 or 11 is based on the
parking.
on the parking, not on the infrastructure.
I believe so. I can confirm that though.
Okay.
I'm gonna text Kyle right now.
It's on the site, not the infrastructure, right?
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to find out that. Okay. Do you want me to try?
Right now, you're not changing any curbing, right?
Right.
No.
And and if you do change curbing, then there's an added expense.
I'm going to call Michael just to see. I'm going to make a phone call to Michael right now.
Because I would think that if you had to expand toward Main Street, you could always move the ADA compliant space down into the middle of the row, right? You're not limited. Does it have to be on the end?
No, it's just easier planning, putting it on the end and then
Yeah.
striping everything down from that.
Yeah.
I do believe we have satellite pictures. So the other thing about that spot is there is an entrance here, right next to that ADA spot.
But that's not right. you could theoretically expand toward that.
Hey, Mike,
Yeah.
we're having our meeting right now, so join us if you can. Bye. Okay. Sorry. Am I there?
Yes, you're here.
Yep.
Okay. I'm sure an emergency came up for Mike. Yeah, let's just kind of go through these things.
So yeah, I do just want to confirm that this is based off of spaces versus electrical.
Right.
So
Right.
I'll let you know.
Okay. I don't know if that's going to make a difference in our recommendation, but it would just be good to know that.
Yeah, so here's your project financials. The all-in cost is just shy of 89,000. We get the maximum grant value of $50,000 with that. So
Who's
so
that?
if we do the power sharing, we could probably do 10 to 16.
Oh, I don't know. Okay. Okay, I don't understand what power sharing is, but that's,
Power sharing basically means if two cars were to be at that same dual port pedestal, it would split amperage instead of giving both cars the full amount. So that limit. So if you had 16 cars parked at the same time, might never happen. But they would all be getting basically a half speed instead of the full dedicated. But if there was just one car parked there, they would get the full dedicated.
got it. Okay, that sounds good.
And we are, I believe, installing these with the power sharing.
Oh, you are?
So future proof, install a total of 10 charging ports with power sharing. So we could get more in there based off of this suggestion.
Great. Okay, I don't know. Yeah, you can't get more in terms of that right now at this configuration, but it means that there could be, it has room for expansion.
Yep, it would just require some civil work on the town's end of changing, the parking spaces themselves. Expanding the curb, repainting.
I would imagine that if necessary, we could use the other side of that lot, the tennis court side.
You could. We would just need to do what they call directional boring, or we'd just do traditional trenching across because we'd have to get the electrical to the other side.
Right, there's infrastructure issues.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the spaces are there if really
Yep.
needed.
Right.
You could do that. And that actually, Pat, I think that would probably be more cost, especially if you directionally bored to those spots, than actually, digging this stuff up, putting in a retaining wall so it's level, and doing all of that work. I think it would probably be more cost effective to just go across and then utilize the existing space.
Okay. So other questions, comments? Here's what Michael would like now. The question is are we ready to make a recommendation to the selectmen? I think the question the selectmen are going to have is about cost, and Michael, I think, said he can, it would be our recommendation, and that Michael thinks that there could be funds allocated to this that would not affect the tax base, like out of ARPA or whatever it would be. I'm not going to speak for him. But I think that was one concern that Chuck mentioned. Not to have anything cost more, but Michael didn't seem to be, felt that that's not exactly what he meant, and that he would be able to explain it and run it by the finance committee and take it to the board. if this was our recommendation. So now I'm leaving it to Pat and Buck. What do you think? Is this your do you want other questions? Or are we ready to make a
Well,
recommendation?
I'm a little confused about the warranties. Is that a separate item or you want to?
No, everything is on the table. Talk about, yeah, you're a good reader.
Yeah, I don't understand the warranty, you know, what that means. I mean,
So this first one, option B, is just an extended warranty through the manufacturer. So if you wanted the charging stations to be warranted for 4 years, it would be an additional $800.
because right now we have what is a 1 year
No.
warranty?
I'll double check.
It
I don't
says,
even know if it's a charge of $200 for the 1 year extended. So it might actually not even go out to a year. I can double check though.
that would be good for you to check, so we know that, what that
I mean,
is.
typically, I mean, in my experience in construction, usually there's a 1 year
Yeah,
warranty. for all
there
work.
is. So I'm not really sure why there's a charge for 1 year. So that's why I want to double check.
No, here it says standard warranty coverage is 1 year on installation and workmanship, and wait, where is it? That right above it. And 1 year on charging station ports. It's above.
So you have a 1 year warranty.
So I don't know
I
what
can
the
find out what extended is. That includes parts and on-site labor to repair, replace manufacturing defects.
I mean, basically, we're buying insurance, and
Right.
the question is, you know, what's been the experience? I mean, very, very few people need work in the year 3 or 4, or is it fairly common in your experience?
In my experience, it's usually not the charging station itself. It might be a faulty head, which is the piece that is at the end of the cord that goes in the vehicle. It might be someone, driver negligence, forgetting to unplug and driving away. That's usually what we see. There is a curb here, so I'm not as worried about drivers running up on the curb and hitting the charging stations themselves. I would say it would be more for those smaller pieces like heads. That would probably be your biggest headache.
So
And how is a head expensive? I'm sure it's more than $200.
I think it's actually right around there.
Okay.
So that's an expense that either we or our insurance, our homeowners, I don't know what you call it, would cover or not cover, right? I mean, for a big expense, I assume there's insurance. Our insurance would
Are
cover
you
that.
talking about the building's insurance?
Yeah, the
coverage?
building insurance. I mean, is it a big deal or is it not a big deal?
I would also say, depending on how you're charging the end user, one thing that I've suggested to other towns is create a fund that you would use. You might charge an additional 10 cents above the cost of the electricity, and that would go kind of towards a fund that would be set aside for maintenance or anything like that, or software costs down the road where you need to re-up subscriptions. That would be my advice to the town with what to do with that other fund, like the additional money raised from charging.
Right. I like that approach. I mean, I think I would just defer to Mike on what he thinks to do with that, I guess, in some ways. I mean, $200 isn't a big deal to put into the project now and just get it through, and then we have 2 years and we don't have to worry about it, or say, no, we don't need to do this because that's where they make their money, and we'll self-insure for that.
Right.
And
go ahead.
I do have a cut sheet. I might have sent it to you with the original proposal, Laura. You might already have it. but I do have information on the extended warranty, a separate PDF that covers, everything within there. So I will send that.
Yeah, why don't you send that to all of us again? I'm not sure. But do Pat or Buck, do you have an opinion on the extended warranty?
I think
Well-
it's going to be interesting to see if Mike can find out whether or not, building insurance covers things like, obviously, it must cover things like the outside lighting and any of those kind of structures. Would that include these charging stations?
Right.
Yeah.
And
And-
if it does, then,
Then you don't need this.
Right.
Agree.
Okay.
And
Should
then what's the preventive maintenance program that's below that?
So that's Guardian's own preventative maintenance. That's coming out, and just running it through, doing a diagnostic, making sure everything's good. So that's a separate labor warranty, basically. Not warranty, but just a service that we provide.
But is that not covered in the 1-year warranty we talked about above?
So that would be more so if something failed. We do have a 1-year labor warranty ourselves, Guardian. So if something, we need to come out and fix something for 1 year, that's on us. This is like a preventative maintenance.
Well, I mean, is that something that people do year in and year out, or is that just for the first year? Or
So you would have to re-up. A lot of my customers do it just for peace of mind. It's really your call on determining the value of that. I would say it's probably like 65 to 70% of the units that I sell just go ahead and go for that preventative maintenance just for peace of mind. But if the town's already concerned about cost, I don't know if I want to just start pushing to tack on costs if you don't see value.
Well, I mean, the other part of the question is if you didn't do anything with these stations year in and year out, seems like eventually things are going to start going, so that some kind of a preventive maintenance program seems like a smart idea. What if anything?
I would agree. I mean, it's something that people are going to be touching and using every day.
Yeah.
So there is going to be wear and tear on it.
It's not
Can I-
something. It's not something that our own buildings and grounds people can do, I would assume.
I think with training, they probably could.
Is that something that you could, so the DPW could probably do that once a year?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I'm talking a little. This would be something I've never done, but maybe there could be some kind of training with the DPW, like when we commission the units and we're on site working on like the network connectivity. They could come over and we could kind of run them through what we would do. There might be some upfront costs for like, if they don't have some of the tools that we use. But it would save you money down the line.
And I assume that it's also possible, even if we don't sign up for the preventive maintenance program, I assume we can call you in an emergency to come out, and pay for that service.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think they
You
said
don't-
it's
you don't have to
$180
sign
an
up
hour.
now.
Right. And I had one other question. Did North Adams do the preventive maintenance?
So North Adams did not. We're actually discussing it right now because we didn't actually offer this service at the time of sale. So we're actually discussing doing this now as a kind of after install.
And what about another town that you've done? Are we the first that you're offering it to?
So I recently sold a couple of units to the town of Abington, and they went forward with the preventative can't remember. I know they did an extended warranty, but I don't know what the duration of it was. And Neshoba Valley Schools just purchased a single dual port, and they also moved forward with an extended warranty in the preventative maintenance.
Well, Mike and Pat, would you like to, I mean, do you have I don't really have a recommendation or an opinion. I think Mike would know about the DPW's capacity to take this on, and on both of the extended warranty and the preventive maintenance. I mean, one is $1,000 a year, and he might be more concerned about that, or he might say, no, that's not a material expense that gives us peace of mind. I mean, would you feel comfortable deferring that to Mike for his?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, now, do we, no, I'm not rushing anything, but I'm just saying, do we want to make a recommendation to the select board?
I think I am, but again, I'd like to go through Mike on that because he may have other thoughts, but.
Right. I think Mike was very comfortable with this. I mean, he was, because I was concerned about the town income. I mean, we can definitely defer to him on this. If he has other questions, we will reconsider at any moment. But barring that, Mike was very comfortable and I would say positive, and Patrick will correct me, about doing the infrastructure improvements now, not thinking that, well, there might be more money down the road. Let's just defer this. Let's do what we can, and it works inexpensively. It's no, let's do it right. Let's have the capacity to expand. It's a cost we know is coming. I mean, they're looking at just even getting rid of, in 10 years, they're not going to be selling the gasoline, or maybe 10, 15 years. I mean, there are, so I think this is on its way, and there's money now, and there's a town contribution. So it's either we wait or we sort of bite the bullet and go for it. And I think Mike was very much in favor of doing it.
I don't think there's any reason to wait.
Right. Did, Patrick, do you think I characterized that correctly?
Yeah, absolutely. It is a one-time cost to have this future-proofed. And, just in the last 2 years, the prices that I see for everything continue to go up. So if you just kick the can down the road, you save today, but you're going to be paying for it later, plus some.
Right. Okay.
Well, these are, they're being used now. We see it, at various venues that are around. So I think it'll be used right away.
Right. I mean, Norman Rockwell Museum, did I tell you that? I spoke to Chris, the facilities maintenance person there, and he said that they've only gotten great positive feedback about it. We could talk to them more. I think they had 8 ports. He thinks he might have seen 6 used at, now he has never seen all of them in use at the same time, but he felt very good about it.
That seems significant.
Yeah.
And what type do they have? They the fast or medium or?
I think they're the medium.
I think so too. He wasn't sure, but I think they're the medium.
Mostly I'm seeing the fast charging. Those are on like major corridors. If you pull off on I-90 at a travel station, that's where you're going to see the DC fast chargers. You might also see them like in a grocery store, but that's usually paid for 100% by like the like Tesla will install that just because they see the value of having the infrastructure so that it kind of promotes more adoption of EVs. That's where I'm seeing them, and the upfront cost for a DC fast charger. I mean, just for the charger, I think it's close to like $110,000. So it's costly.
Okay. So I think, does someone want to make a motion now? I mean, I was thinking it would be just something that we recommend that we go forward with this proposal. And that Mike will, make the recommendation about the, warranty and preventive maintenance, and that if Mike has further questions, we will reconsider.
Sounds
So
good.
moved.
Yep, second.
Okay. So Pat moved. Buck seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So our recommendation to the select board is that we go forward now with this proposal unless Mike has further questions and he can come back to the committee. Mike will shepherd this through the finance committee and select board, and we are going to defer to Mike on both the warranty and preventive maintenance.
Yep.
Okay, very good. That's our recommendation. I think he's hoping to do this at the, meeting on the 8th. I kind of, hopefully, I'm going to see, if they can put us really first on the agenda, then I can be there from 6:30 to 7 and do this. Otherwise, I was going to go out to dinner that night, and then I'll see if Mike needs me. Unless, Buck, would you want to be, could you make that presentation to the select board, or would you rather me do it, or?
I think you're the one.
What?
I think you're the person to do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right,
Is that meeting a virtual option?
Yes.
If you'd like, Laura, myself and Kyle could attend that call as well, just to address any questions from the select board.
Right, that would be great. I think I'm going to talk to Mike. I mean, if I can be there, I will. If I can't be there, then they're only meeting every other week. So it would be 2 more weeks, and I think we really want to move this along, and I will try to, but I might be able to I might be able to figure things out for myself and change my little schedule. So I think, so this would happen on the 8th. And then once that happens on the 8th, what is the time frame then? Patrick.
So as soon as I have a signed proposal, we would go ahead and submit all grant paperwork. What we'll do when we have a signed proposal is put a hold on materials as well, just so that we don't have to worry about, lead times, which right now are pretty crazy. It usually takes a month to 2 months for the grant to be approved by the Mass DEP. So I would imagine we'd be looking at a kind of towards the end of the year install.
So, wait. Go. So that doesn't matter that it's the cold weather. Well, if it was September, October, yeah, so it could be November or so.
November. So there's not a lot of digging in this. It's just a small amount because
Okay.
the electrical room is right where that first ADA compliant spot is. So we would come out from the wall. We'd be doing a decent amount of work in the electrical room itself. That's for the, electrical infrastructure. And then we would come out of the wall, and then really to these spots that we're doing, if you can see my cursor, I don't know if you can, but
Yeah.
we're really just trenching here and here.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a ton. If the ground cooperates, I think it's doable to get it done before the end of the year. Just because of it's not like we're going across the parking lot digging up huge swaths.
Right. And so that's the install. So that they're not, and then people can start using it. When would they be using it? In 2023?
If we get them installed in November, they could use them right away. it's just a matter of getting them installed and then commissioning the software and linking that to an account within the town so you can receive funds from the people that are charging there.
And and then I think, are we going to get some guidance in setting the prices and things like that?
Yeah, I can assist to the best of my knowledge. At the end of the day, it's the town's decision. Usually what I do is look at the rate that you're paying per kilowatt hour on electricity and then suggest some number slightly above that. And then also kind of compare that to what other locations around you are charging. Because of your proximity to Main Street, it might not matter if you're a little bit overpriced. People might say, you know what, I'm going to walk to this store anyway, and I want to be charging and parked close. So there's a lot of factors that kind of go into it, and I can give a recommendation based on those factors, but really the town's decision at the end of the day.
Right. I mean, if it costs someone an extra 50 cents, they're not going to care.
I don't know if I'd go 50 cents above, but yeah.
No, I mean, total, I mean.
Oh yeah, like 50 cents per hour.
Or something, yeah, I mean, if it's really a nominal amount.
I would say like maybe like 40 cents.
Yeah.
Per kilowatt hour might be like a good range. I would assume that, you're probably paying close to 20 cents per kilowatt hour. I should have some utility data because we've done work in the past, so I can figure that out in the meantime.
Very good. Okay.
And we would have to have signs available the minute we start having these.
So we would install signage, which is something that, the select board and this committee just needs to decide.
Right.
You have to have a sign like this on the street. I don't know. Is that Main Street?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In front of the building?
Yep.
Yes.
You'd have a sign out there on Main Street that's directing cars into the parking lot, and then you'd also have one of these ones above it. Right here,
Right.
one of these at the station itself.
Does anyone have a preference of those two signs?
Not strong. No.
What's that? Missed that, Buck.
No, I don't have a preference.
I don't either. Pat, do you have a preference?
What's the I can't see what the symbol is. The icon that's in the first one on the left.
So the first one is like a picture of an EV charging station.
Okay.
And then the one to the right, it says, it has the same language. It's just a picture of a electric vehicle at the top.
Because the one on the left doesn't have the word electric.
Yeah, I kind of like having the word electric. I think that's
Yeah, I do too.
personal.
Okay.
And the other one where the EV has a directional EV sign, I mean, would it have one so it could come from both directions?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay.
I assume that's a two-sided sign.
Oh, it's two-sided. Never mind. That's what I was wondering. Okay. Very good. Okay,
So,
now,
Laura, if you just want to keep me in the loop on when that meeting is, I will attend that one virtually to address any additional questions that might come up.
okay. Okay, and then usually we can make it so that we are number one. Well, we can hope that we can be the first thing on the agenda so that we don't have to, so that we can take care of that after public comment. Okay, is there anything else right now? I can give everybody, are we finished with this agenda item? Do you want a brief update on the streetlights?
Sure.
Okay.
Is it all right if I hop off?
Yeah,
here,
you can
Laura?
jump off. Thank you very, very much. Well, so do you have any homework, Patrick?
I do. So I'm going to check the rate that you guys are paying. We did figure out the warranty, but I'm also going to send over just a cut sheet what that warranty, the extended warranty from the manufacturer is.
Okay. Very good. Okay, you can jump off. Anything else for Patrick?
No.
Okay, thank you so much for coming.
Pat,
Yep,
Thank you.
appreciate it, and have a great rest of your day, all right?
Thank you.
you.
So
All right,
for the streetlights, we still, we know that we're next on the list for National Grid. They still haven't, we still don't own them. We're still waiting for, there's one person there and she's behind, and apparently it does no good to push her. So we're still just waiting to buy them. Pat, Buck, you, me, and Patrick, the four of us worked on the Q&A, which I have in its final form, which I will send to the whole committee so that you can look at it. It's on sort of the official town, whatever, however Michael, posted it. But it's not posted yet. Mike thinks we should wait until we own the streetlights, and we're kind of a few weeks out from installing them. So we're going to hold on that. But I will send that to both of you and to the committee, but it's not for sharing until we own the streetlights. And then I think things should move forward. I think I am supposed to be, or someone's supposed to be sending quarterly reports to DOER, so I might actually send a quarterly report to DOER to let them know that that's the holdup right now, just so they know that where things are. And, but I have to run that by Michael. And, that's all I can say about that.
Sounds good.
Okay. I did say something to George about Church Street. Did I say something to him? I don't remember. Anyway, we're just holding it. We're just waiting for that. Okay. Anything else, guys?
Just as an FYI, they replaced the burned out light in front of Minkler's.
The what?
They
Oh.
replaced the light in front of Minkler's.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I wonder what they replaced it out.
Well, I mean, it was
Right.
out and it's now on again.
Right. I wonder if they did that with an LED.
No idea.
Probably not.
But
That's
that one happens to be in the middle of trees.
right. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, we're on a very, very slow train. I think we've done everything we can, and that's it. Someone else needs to. National Grid is way behind its schedule. I think they're supposed to do it within 60 days, and it's been 6 months. But there's nothing really we can do about it. It'll happen.
Yeah. Good.
Okay.
All right.
Very good, guys. I still want to do something about the municipal aggregation, but I think let's wait until we have both of these projects in place, or more in place, and then we'll just tackle that and have our meetings with the 3 people, and we'll move forward on that.